Quilters Newsletter TV, the Quilters community, is brought to you by Handy Quilter, designed by a quilter for quilters. Sulky, express yourself with Sulky and create with confidence. Brother, it's so easy with Brother at your side. And Quilt Cut, easy fabric cutting for quilters. Hi, and welcome to Quilters Newsletter TV, the Quilters community. I'm Mary Kate Karr-Petras, and with us today is Nancy Smith, the former owner of the Great American Quilt Factory here in the Denver area, and one half of the team Possibilities, which authored quite a few books, and I'm sure a number of our audience members probably still have those books in their collections. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today.
This is really fun, and I'm so glad for the opportunity because this is something new for me. What Mary Kate forgot to say is that I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and this is very new for me. And so actually it's about 3 years now, but it's new compared to how long I've been quilting. And so, but I just wanted to share with you and show you a project today that's very easy and very simple, and then would give you a little bit of an introduction about Zentangles. So I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. Let me just show you, first of all, these are the cards that I'm going to be making. Okay. And I put this together as a rather simple, small project that anybody can accomplish. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about Zentangles, and you had told me that you didn't know much.
No, I know a little bit. I've seen them out there in the world and seen a few of the books.
Okay.
But I've never done it myself.
Okay.
And I'm one of those people who says, well, I don't draw. I'm not good at doodling.
Yep.
So.
And that's what I was. I knew that from probably third grade on I couldn't draw. Mm-hmm. So this was eye-opening and life-changing, guaranteed. So these are the cards that we'll be working on, and I'm going to actually show you how to draw that pattern. And Zentangles is one of the most wonderful things that you can get into, and it coordinates a lot with quilting. You can actually coordinate it with a lot of other things. But I wanted to give you a little bit of information about Zentangles. So I have made up a couple of sheets here that I will go ahead and, you want to pull those up? Okay. Zentangles, it's an art form, first of all. And it is unplanned. So even if you tried to copy your neighbors, you can't do it. Somehow you and your personality just comes through. It's fun. There's no direction. It's not up, it's not down, it's any way you want to show it. It's abstract. So if you were trying to draw a truck and it didn't look like a truck and the wheels were square instead of round, it's abstract. You don't have to worry about it matching anything. It's small and portable, and so you can take it with you. In fact, I've used it instead of a journal, that I just carry a little bag with me of a pen, a pencil, and some paper, and go on trips and record things on trips using this technique. Interesting. No technology. You know, if your electricity goes out, you don't have to worry about it. If your computer goes off, it doesn't matter. If the network is out of service, doesn't matter.
There is no network.
No network. And so the fact that there's no technology, it's back to the simplest black and white line art, pen, pencil. I love it. Just love it. It removes obstacles. And for those of you who are going to say, oh, that really looks hard, I can't do it. You can. Guaranteed that you can. I could teach you. Okay. I could teach everybody out there how to do it. Not enough time. I probably have 40 quilt tops that aren't finished and are waiting for me, and I do not have one Zentangle piece unfinished. It's wonderful because it doesn't load you up with undone things. It's really nice. Like I said, equipment, pen, pencil, paper, no ability. I'll show you. You have more ability than you think you do, and it's lurking in there, so it can't wait to come out. No space, about this much space. If you can pull a chair up to the table, that's all the space that you need. And that's really nice too. You don't have to have a studio, you don't have to have a large room for it, nothing like that. Training, said no training. You can get some of the basics from what I'm going to show you. There are books out there you can get from that. There are certified Zentangle teachers all over the country, and you can probably find one in your area. A class or two, and you're off and going. It's just wonderful. Kids can learn it too, as well as adults. Can't finish, you can finish. It takes about 30 minutes to an hour. You can make some fast, some slow. And it says too intimidating when you look at the whole of something. And I think that's when people look at a quilt and say, it's too intimidating, I can't do that. Break it down. You know, one patch to the next. Well, this is one line to the next. So very similar in many ways to the quilting. It is fun. It is so much fun. And I have gotten, in the last 3 years, I actually took a week-long course to get a teacher certification for it, and do it almost every night. Hardly a night passes. It's like my relaxing place to go to. So it's fun. It is art. And people say, well, what are you going to do with it? And I always come back with the statement of, if it were watercolor and I were teaching you watercolor, you wouldn't turn around and look at me and say, what are you going to do with the watercolor? You frame it. It's a piece of art, and it's wonderful. This is too. It's relaxing. It increases your confidence. Something you didn't think you could do, you realize that you can do it. You learn to focus, and that's one of the major things I think in this day and age. We're so multitasking, we're so here, there, we're on our phones, we're on our computers, we're on everything. One thing at a time. You hardly can do anything else or think about anything else. This allows you to focus. It stimulates your creativity, and as I said, I've started looking at things that I've looked at for 20 years but never seen. This is new, and so all of a sudden I'm starting to see a whole new world out there, patterns and all sorts of things. It's great. No mistakes. Put a line down, and then your opportunity for creativity is that line. It's great. Anything is possible one step at a time, and that's, that old story of how to eat an elephant, one bite at a time. This is how you do Zentangles, one stroke at a time. It is a ceremony. It's not doodling. It's not something that you just, mindlessly wander through. It's the difference between if you went to a fast food and said drive-through, and you were going to get a cup of tea, and you ended up just taking the cup of tea and running on, versus a Japanese tea ceremony. Big difference. And that's what Zentangles. It's not just doodling and drawing some lines. So what I would like to do is show you a couple of really basic things in terms of Zentangles today, and you too can do it. So when we first start out, there's a ceremony to it. And so, like I said, it's not just a slapdash, put a couple of lines down. First of all, you just relax, and it's just like, okay. And then a deep breath, another deep breath.
Never hurts.
Never hurts. It really doesn't. And we all go so fast and try and do so many things in a day. Appreciate your paper, your fabric, your tools, this opportunity, this chance for you to see what Zentangles are about. And we are so lucky, and each one of us has to be more aware of the gratitude that we have for what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is start by, I'm going to show you how to do one pattern, or one tangle pattern. And they all have names. They come with names, and it's just a way to, they're non-representational. So they come with, what you want to do is have a language to talk to somebody. If I said, oh, remember that curve with the lines with the echoes? You have to have some way to talk to people. And so the first pattern that I'm going to show you how to do, a Zentangle pattern, is called Crescent Moon. So I'm going to just scoot this over here for a minute. And I've titled it Crescent Moon, and this is an original Zentangle pattern. When I took the class, they actually taught us 102 patterns. And I have come to the idea of simplicity, and I started backing it all the way down. I take one pattern and see what I can do with it, instead of so many. And then I got in the habit of trying to find thousands of patterns. I don't need thousands of patterns. One is fine. So this particular, let me show you right here. This is a tile that I have, and usually they're about 3.5 inches. Is what they cut. That's your paper. Then you have a pencil, and then you have a pen. And I use the Micron .01 pen, especially when I'm working on paper. When I'm working on fabric, we'll talk about some other options, but on paper, I'm just going to show you this to begin with. So crescent moon, you start out, and I've just sort of penciled this in so it would give me a clue on what to do.
Okay.
And essentially, crescent moon is if you have a line, and this right here could be your pencil line going right along like that. Crescent moon is taking and making little humps, lumps,
Sure.
whatever. They look like little crescent moons, and they go just like that.
Okay.
And so whatever your line is, you can line them up along there. And here I have one that I have shown, and then I have an arrow, and I go fill. So you want to fill that in. So if I were taking this, I would go and, you know, this takes a bit of a minute here to fill in, but you just fill it in. If you wanted to, you could use a little bit heavier pen. I try and keep my supplies really simple. And so sometimes I'll have like maybe an 8, a .08. And so, but what I'm going to do is just go ahead and fill all those in, and I'd fill them in quite solid.
Okay.
And then my next thing to do is I start echoing. And I just remember when we were kids in school,
Yeah.
and we outlined everything. Well,
So you just keep echoing and...
you just keep echoing.
And then how do you draw the lines in between the different motifs along
Okay.
this, like that?
Okay, so this essentially is a pattern. I mean, that's
Yes,
the pattern,
absolutely.
and it looks like, you know, a lump and then echo it. Okay, I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to show you. This is the same pattern as that.
It sure is.
And what I have done, in order to start out an actual tile, you would actually put a dot in each corner, like that. And those are your corner dots, and then you make a frame. And you can tell it can be crooked,
Okay.
it doesn't have to.
As you said, whatever line you end up with is the line you work
is
with.
the line you work with, and it doesn't have to be straight.
Okay.
So that's my frame, and that's the line that I've done around here.
Okay.
Then you add a string, and a string is something that, it's like if you had a white canvas, and all of a sudden somebody said, draw something, and you go, what?
Yeah.
And this divides
So-
your space. And
Okay.
so if I wanted to, and you do this with pencil, maybe I'll do another division.
Okay.
Okay, so I've divided up my space. And then from there, these all stay in pencil. And the frame is in pencil, this is in pencil. And then I go to my pen, and I go, okay, I would like to put crescent moon in this space. So again, I'm just
So
going
you
to
just
start.
work on those strings, and then you add your echoing lines.
That's exactly
and
right.
then you just build from there.
And just build from there.
Well,
So-
let's see how we transfer that to fabric then to use that for a
Absolutely.
sewing application?
Yep,
Because
yep.
I've seen people use these for, you know, quilting motifs and things like that. And I'm interested to see how you
Okay,
get this onto fabric
okay.
and make a card out of
Okay,
it.
so let's go to the next step here. And what you want to do is, first of all, I just have a piece. I've made these about 5 inches. You can make them any size that you want. And right here, I have a piece of fabric. I have a piece of freezer paper. I'm going to iron that onto it. I have ironed it on here so you can see. And then I take, and what I'm going to do, because I've decided my card needs a 3-inch window, I took a template. And I'm going to put that on, and I'm
You
going
draw
to
your
draw
frame,
around
okay.
with a pencil.
And so you just draw your pattern directly onto the fabric. You
Absolutely.
don't draw it on paper and then transfer it, because
no.
that sort of would take away from the whole
You can, but
spontaneity of it.
yeah, I'm not sure you would want to.
And it's so small. It's not like you're ruining a lot of fabric or something like
That's
that.
it.
The
It's
investment
either
is low.
a piece of paper or a 5-inch piece of fabric. Here I've drawn the square. I've drawn certain different lines than I had before. The little bumps, filled them in, echoed them. And there's one in progress. Here's another one, similar, but maybe a little bit different. And so you can see all of a sudden what
It
starts
just fills
happening.
the space really.
It
And
fills
here's
it.
another variation
And
on that
here's
theme.
another variation.
It's beautiful.
And so I added some little circles around there. So from there, in terms of working on fabric, you can just do exact same drawing. I would experiment a little bit with pens, and I probably would go up to a number 5 pen
Okay.
instead of the 1. It just fills it in a little bit better. And so from there, once you have your piece drawn, if it's like that, I next have one that's set up, and here's a piece that I have all drawn.
And you've taken the freezer paper off of it.
Taken
after
the,
you draw.
thank you.
Okay.
Yep, taken the freezer paper.
You never
Takes
know.
two. Two is easier. And then what I have is just a piece of lining fabric, a piece of batting, and then I'm taking this and putting it on top. I have little numbers trying to keep myself straight
Sure.
here. And then I would just get that ready, and I would take it to the machine and quilt it however
motion
you
quilt.
want. Free motion quilt.
So it's a kind of a good way to experiment with your free motion quilting as well, to maybe free that up, because a lot of us are scared of free motion quilting.
That could be.
Without a walking foot, perhaps, and it's a good, again, it's a
small.
low investment, it's
Yep.
small, and it's just really freeing and
It
beautiful.
really is. You can, here is one that I already have quilted, and you can see I took the empty spaces or the negative spaces, and I did a little free motion quilting, and then just outlined it around, and you can tell from the back that's the quilted piece.
That's beautiful. And
So from there is all I do is I go ahead and trim it up, and then I have a card.
you can buy cards like this.
You can.
That
you
have the
can,
cutout
let's see, that
windows.
was one that I had experimented with. Here's one that I just actually took my 3-inch template.
Oh, so you made this one yourself?
I did.
Oh, okay. Because
I did.
Okay, great.
And so I put it on the inside, and then I would go ahead with a rotary cutter or X-Acto knife, whatever you want to use, and cut out the window. And then we can pull these cards back, and you'll see that what I have done is actually I cut a piece to cover that.
Okay. Makes a
So
nice
I
clean-
glued it in here, and that's my 3-inch window.
Excellent.
I cut that. And in this one, I decided I didn't want to make a window, so I stitched it on top.
It's a great look in and of
Either
itself.
way,
Yeah.
either way you can do it, and you can see the stitching.
Yeah.
It just shows on the inside, and I could cover that too, but didn't feel it was necessary.
Well, it's beautiful. It's such a neat window into a new creative outlet, and quilters are always interested, it seems, in other things, other
How to
applications.
tie it.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. And
wonderful.
it's like magic. It really is. I
Does seem
mean,
like it.
I showed you one thing, and all these things are made from that one design.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Thank you so much for coming and
You're
sharing this
welcome.
with us today. Thank
fun.
you, and we look forward to seeing whatever you, if you ever try out some Zentangle on your own, feel free to email it to us at Quilters Newsletter. We'd love to see it. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Quilters Newsletter TV, the quilters community, is brought to you by Handy Quilter, designed by a quilter for quilters. Sulky, express yourself with Sulky and create with confidence. Brother, it's so easy with Brother at your side. And Quilt Cut, easy fabric cutting for quilters.